Well, we are set to explore the details of the strategic move by Coeur Mining and its deal with Silvercrest a few weeks ago. It's a $1.7 billion groundbreaking deal. Coeur has acquired Silvercrest Metals, a company renowned for its high-grade silver mines. Well, co-CEO Mitchell Krebs joins us this afternoon. Mitch, thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, it's been just about a month since the announcement of the Silvercrest $1.7 billion deal. And since then, silver has gained significantly. The price of gold has been relentless. How do you digest an environment like this, knowing that, swings can come at any time?
Yeah, we feel like, at least over the last month, like you said, things have been playing out in a fashion that we don't find particularly surprising. Of course, we're thinking about this in more of a decade or two time frame, which, over that period of time, we feel like the setup for silver and gold both are really constructive, both on the demand side and on the supply side. And that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to create this kind of larger, stronger, silver-centric business to really position our investors to benefit from what we think will be a very positive price environment for both silver and gold over the coming years and hopefully decades.
You've just come out of a costly expansion in Nevada in the U.S. So I would imagine that the Las Chispas mine needs to work to stabilize that balance sheet, right? I mean, that's probably one top priority for you and your shareholders, undoubtedly.
You're exactly right. We no fixer-uppers. That's one of the things about Las Chispas that we find particularly compelling is the fact that it has now just kind of achieved its steady state production profile. It's less than 2 years old. And when you put that together with the recently completed expansion out in Nevada at our Rochester operation, it really creates, two big, long life, chunky silver assets that will be generating some really strong free cash flow, especially at these prices. So adding in a single asset like Las Chispas should be fairly straightforward. It'll start to contribute cash flow immediately, and it should do it in a very consistent fashion, which is exactly what we were looking for to kind of round out our portfolio of assets.
It's quite interesting because making these single asset purchases is not quite sure whether it's a challenging one or it just fits perfectly, because you've said before, setting up high quality silver mines is more rare than one thinks, right? I mean, presumably grade is important here. No doubt you're banking on that.
Absolutely. There is a real shortage of producing primary silver mines, let alone this kind of quality like Las Chispas. It's kind of like when you're looking for a house on a block. This, in our mind, is the nicest house on the block. You're never going to pay a cheap price for the best house on the block, but this is definitely a rarity. It does fit into our company really well in terms of really buttressing some of our areas of weakness. For example, the grade at Las Chispas is 25 times higher than our company's average grade. Its costs per ounce are 35% lower than our average costs, and their balance sheet at Silvercrest is pristine. It has no debt and almost $160 million of cash and bullion as of September 30th. And when you look at our company, like you said, just coming out of this big expansion out in Nevada, our debt levels are elevated. This is going to help address that balance sheet day one, and that high margin, low cost cash flow out of Las Chispas is going to allow us to pay down debt at a very rapid rate, especially at these high prices. So it plugs in just perfectly and really creates a much stronger, much more resilient company going forward.
I mean, I suppose that if you want a long-term sustained solution to debt, there has to be some stability there. And I suppose the new acquisition, how confident are you that it will offer that type of solution? Because debt is something that it can be a bugbear, especially when you're venturing into new ventures.
Especially in a volatile business like we are in, right? It's capital intensive, it's cyclical, it's highly regulated. The beauty of Las Chispas at those grades, it makes money really at almost any silver price. And so that stability is really going to help us I know right now nobody likes to think about prices going down. Everything seems to point to a rising price environment. But and I've been in this business almost 30 years. Prices do go down sooner or later. And with the addition of an asset like this and with that Silvercrest balance sheet, this company is going to be so much better positioned to withstand those times when prices aren't cooperating. And instead of just fighting for our survival like we've done in the past in those down price environments, we can even be opportunistic in future times, given that we'll have an asset like Las Chispas and a much stronger, much more flexible balance sheet than we've had.
Mitch, Rochester is also expected to be the largest source of U.S. produced and refined silver. I'm wondering, between the two mines, what is the production of silver and gold here? How does it pan out?
Yeah, on a company-wide basis going forward, the production of silver will be around 21 million ounces annually and about 432,000 ounces of gold. When you look at Rochester alone, that'll be around 7 to 8 million ounces of that 21 million, just out of the Rochester mine, together then with Las Chispas, which is another 6.5 million ounces of silver. Our third large silver production source of silver production is the Palmarejo mine, which is right next door to the state of Sonora, where Las Chispas is in Chihuahua. And Palmarejo, we've been there this is our 15th year of operating there. That's a large silver and gold mine that produces 6.5 to 7 million ounces of silver, 100 and 110,000 ounces of gold a year. So between Las Chispas, Palmarejo, and Rochester, we have three good chunky primary silver operations in an environment and in a world where there's just not a lot of primary silver mines. So that's what really excites us about the platform that we're creating here with this transaction.
As I let you go, just one last question. What are the key performance indicators now, just as the deal closes in a few months' time, that will be used to measure the success of this deal?
Yeah, well, we expect this transaction to close late in the first quarter. What you'll see immediately is a balance sheet that will look radically different with the inclusion of Silvercrest's cash. And then as you go through the rest of 2025 and you start to see that balance sheet improving really quarter by quarter and reaching those kinds of annualized numbers that I mentioned earlier in terms of the cash flow, EBITDA of over $700 million on a combined basis, free cash flow of over $350 million. Those are really peer leading numbers and offer investors, some of the best, if not the best, exposure to silver right at a time when the world doesn't have enough of that.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Well, Mitchell Krebs, Coeur CEO, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.